Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new NoDQ review number 244. And I am the moderator, Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of the review, of course, Aaron Rift, Walter Cruz, jumping on last minute, Jeff Meacham, and the This Guy Experience back for round 2. I believe he was on the show in the past. Gentlemen, what's going on? This Guy Experience, I'll start with you. You're one of our avid super chatters, and here you are on the review this evening. What's going on?
Well, hey, Virtue. Hey, guys. Nice to be back again. Still a little nervous second time around. I actually was trying to send a super chat before we got on, but my phone's messing up. But I'm happy to be here again. Not stealing Big G's gimmick. Not stealing your gimmick, Walter, either. I'm glad to be on.
Well, good to have you, and we'll be covering some stuff that happened in wrestling over the weekend. So stay tuned. We'll be back to you shortly. Walter Cruz, what's going on? Are you home now? Where were you? Puerto Rico?
I'm still in Puerto Rico. I'm in my uncle lets me use his office to work from home. So yeah, I'm here until Wednesday. I'm having a good time and happy to be here to steal Big G's sticks. And this guy's trying to steal mine. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, this guy. But yeah,
so I got to keep this thing rolling tonight. With five of us and you and Jeff on, I'm not going to be doing this till 10 o'clock tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, Walter, thanks for being on. We'll come back to you.
No problem.
Jeff Meacham, what's going on?
Yeah, definitely no long shows. I actually have a date tonight, so we got to get this shit moving. And apparently my hat's sponsored by StreamYard, so shout out to StreamYard for that one. Just looking forward to talking about yesterday's premium event and what's to come for the gentleman you're rocking today, Virtue. We'll see how things go with Roman and company coming this week. We'll talk about that later.
Yep, stay tuned. We got some big topics, some fun ones as well, and I'm sure there'll be some debate. Aaron Rift, what's up?
Doing pretty good. It's been a busy 4th of July weekend so far. Happy 4th to everyone out there that celebrates it. We just had Money in the Bank on Saturday, and looking forward to this week. Virtue, I might have to stop by your neck of the woods in a couple of days and say hi, and maybe we'll post some pictures on social media. Big Vito can comment and make his comments that he likes to make. But nonetheless, I'm ready to get started with the topics tonight. We got SummerSlam coming up soon, the biggest party of the summer. Detroit, Michigan, looking forward to that being in my backyard. That's going to be a hell of a show, and I'm excited to talk about the build-up as we move towards that. So let's get it going.
Now, the first topic we're going to talk about, who do I hear in the background? What do we got? What's going on here? Are you in a gym there at This Guy Experience?
That was Walter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, put yourself on mute until you're talking if you got background noise. We're going to talk about Money in the Bank Fallout first. Now, one part of Money in the Bank that we're going to talk about later in the main event is John Cena's appearance, what he was there for, what he hinted at, what it could mean way down the future. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that because it's interesting timing based on what's going to happen in London later this year. But first, let's talk about Money in the Bank, the Bloodline Civil War match. So if we can have thoughts on that. Yes, Roman Reigns ate his first pin in 3 years since Baron Corbin or however long it's been. And he waited all this time to give it to his own blood, Jey Uso. Great stuff. Still has his championship. Now people are calling like he's going to lose it. He's vulnerable. That's what wrestling's supposed to be about, getting people to think what's next. What else happened here? Shayna Baszler turns on Ronda Rousey. And, of course, Drew McIntyre returns. And they're 2 Money in the Bank winners. Damian Priest. That's right. Damian Priest. Not Logan Paul. Not LA Knight. Damian Priest. And there was some weird stuff with the Finn Balor match with Seth Rollins there as well you can comment on. And of course, Io Sky. Now, Jeff, I'm going to start with you first. I'm trying to recall, did Io Sky recently have a championship match where she lost?
I think
Didn't she have a championship match on one of the shows?
I want to say she faced
was
Bianca.
it at Puerto Rico? No, not Puerto Rico. Wherever it was Raw somewhere. I thought she had a championship match.
It was on television, not premium event. I'm pretty sure
that's what's weird about this one. But anyway, thoughts on Money in the Bank Fallout.
Yeah, I think it was after the draft, and Bianca was still the Raw champion, but a SmackDown star, and we were all like, "Okay, this makes no damn sense," because the way the title's labeled. So I think it was during that transition period.
She lost to Bianca at Backlash.
Sky did?
That's what I see in the chat. Puerto Rico.
Oh.
Which, again, so you're giving her the money. That's weird to me. That's just a weird giving somebody a Money in the Bank contract that recently had a title match and lost. I don't know. That wasn't already a main eventer like Becky. That's weird. I don't know. Comments on
I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed watching it along with my team doing the commentary. I enjoyed producing it. It was a fun show to watch. I enjoyed the overall of Forbidden Door a little bit more last week, but this show was about storylines paying off. We had the Bloodline thing. We'll talk about that later. Actually, no, we're talking about that now. We're talking about John Cena later. We had the surprise of John Cena. We had the surprise of Drew McIntyre returning because there's all this, he's not happy with his money. He's not happy. Well, seemed perfectly fine to go in there and lay a Claymore kick on somebody, so he can't be too pissed off with his pay. Priest and Sky being the Money in the Bank holders definitely is thought-provoking, I guess, because I've seen potential in Damian Priest from the beginning. And why is my phone going off? Quiet you. But yeah, Io Sky being the one to win of everybody, I think it's overdue for her to be, I guess, in that position, because now we have her as the contract holder and we have Asuka, at least for now, until Charlotte or Bianca get that title still as champions. So we have a possible Asuka Io Sky thing coming. The World Championship match, not surprised Rollins retained. People have been talking about, Rollins needs to have a long reign and be that guy for a while. But having Priest be the, if only brief, distraction for Balor was interesting. Looking forward to see what happens tomorrow. Bloodline match was great. It's such amazing storytelling from everybody, including the referee, Dan Engler, including Paul Heyman, of course. Just great stuff all around there. I know I saw the comment about the Roman fanboys being silent. I was a Roman fan leading up to this. I
posted all over Twitter last night. Now, I didn't watch it, the show as it happened. I watched it later in the day, so all my tweets were later, but I commented plenty on what happened.
Well, there was a lot of delay. One of the people we have a YouTube partnership with, she did her review much later, and then popped up Mike and I toward the end of the show. It was like 10:30 last night, our time. So it was a long Saturday for everybody except Aaron. Aaron loves these premium days early in the day because he can get his ass in bed by 9-10 o'clock and have to worry about doing reviews after Collision. And Collision wasn't live, so that was even better.
Well, Jeff, get this. So Money in the Bank aired. I did my live stream. Then I went out to dinner, TGI Fridays. Went over to Caitlin's aunt's place. We hung out with some family members for a while, and then came back, and it was still light outside. So it was like 9 o'clock, still light outside, and then at 10 o'clock, we watched the fireworks show. I did all that stuff after Money in the Bank. I felt like I had almost a whole day after I did my live stream.
It's funny. Hunter during the press conference was talking about, they're trying to be a global company. We'll talk about the London thing later, Virtue, like you said. But it is cool to have these events that are, for us on the West Coast, if we're doing watch-alongs, it sucks because being up on a Saturday was rough. But it's one of those, you do what you have to do. And I enjoyed the entirety of the day yesterday. It was a wonderful day. And the show came off very well, much even better than I anticipated. I anticipated good. I think it came off great.
And how do you Jeff? What do you think about when fans say Cody should have went over Roman at Mania? It was the right thing to do. LA Knight should have won the Money in the Bank briefcase last night.
Yeah, it's
this is the thing. And WWE has paid the fans off fairly quickly on occasions before. Daniel Bryan, right? Kofi Kingston, it's happened. It's not like they never do it.
No.
But I think the more the fans vocalize what they want, they ain't going to get it when they want it.
No, because
I don't know, man. Now, Triple H more involved, maybe because Triple H likes to make the fans happier than Vince McMahon, that's apparent. But any comment there when you see people really thinking something should happen at a particular time, and then when it doesn't, sour grapes.
It's very easy to book a premium show or a storyline sitting here on your arm of your own chair in your own home. You know, Hunter, as much as he was in the character of, best for business ring authority, that's exactly what he's going to do. It's not, it behooved business to elevate Kofi Kingston when he was having that groundswell. It behooved business to elevate Daniel Bryan when he was literally having the show hijacked. But you notice, CM Punk left, they were chanting his name for years, and they didn't even bother reaching out because they knew, number one, that Phil wasn't going to want to go back, but
Right.
number two, it didn't behoove them to do business with somebody that was going to be a locker room shitstorm like that. Cody Rhodes, yes, as a fan, would have loved to see him that live in person. But the more I've been able to pull myself out of that mindset of being that guy standing there on that ramp watching this unfold and just going, holy shit, they actually had Roman win here. The more I go, no, that's exactly how it should have been. We had the feel-good, amazing moment the night before where I was just elated for Kevin and Sammy. But leaving that stadium and going on my post show with my team, James was furious. And I just sat back and it's like I chuckled because regardless of what we think about it, we're still talking about it. People hate on Charlotte. Oh, we don't want Charlotte. She shouldn't be around. Are you talking about her, or is she really bad for business?
And hey, I think Tito has said this, and other people, Cody has to get the AEW and indie stank off of him.
Yes.
Off his eyes. Like Vince McMahon is still the chess master. I don't care. LA Knight needs to get the TNA and indie stank off of him. Once Vince or whoever, the whole office in general, sees these guys as, and I know Cody was there before, but once they're like, hey, what have you done lately? Oh, WWE stuff. You're entrenched back with WWE. Then the push is most likely to happen. I mean, look at Kofi, been with WWE for a while. Bryan, been with WWE when they got their pushes. They didn't have that stank to get off. I'm just saying it's coincidence.
You're absolutely right. And as far as Charlotte being bad, I mentioned her, what exactly about the women's division right now is good for business? I'll wait. Besides Ronda and Shayna now finally getting something going. What in that women's division and that entire company is best for business overall when it comes to dollars and cents and red versus black ink? I will wait.
Rhea Ripley?
Because
Ripley.
Rhea Ripley, she's a champion right now. Cool.
But most of her stuff stemming off of her work with the faction, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the faction is big business.
Exactly. If Rhea hadn't had hooked up with Edge and Priest, whatever it was, early last year, don't know if she'd be where she is at this point. But is Charlotte really bad, or is it just we don't want her around? So, no, I don't want it. No.
Jeff, before I move to this guy experience, back with AJ Styles when he debuted in the Royal Rumble, when did he finally win the WWE Championship? Wasn't that first year, was it? Or was it?
No, it was. It was a Backlash that year. So I think it was like either –
so that
I forget what month Backlash was, but sometime within that first year, yeah.
And he wrestled who at WrestleMania that year?
First year, it was Jericho.
Jericho, and who went over that match?
That would be, I believe.
I think Jericho went over. Double check that while I go to this guy experience. But there's your answer. The stank was off of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody looked that up. Did Jericho go over AJ's first Mania before AJ became a champion?
Well, AJ was also away from the overly stinky TNA for 3 years at that point too.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think they really. Yeah, Jericho did win. So there you go.
Yeah.
At the biggest stage of them all. Then AJ got pushed. So, all right, this guy experience, Money in the Bank Fallout. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty good show. Going in, I didn't really have much hype for it. Unlike previous years, they had established not TNA. God, TNA is now in my head now. Established TLC or ladder match people in there, such as Shelton. Even though I'm not really a fan of Jeff Hardy, etc. Even Kane, that one match, like they had established people in the previous Money in the Bank. Kofi, like all these unsung hero, even Cody. But this first year, this is the first year that they had brand new people that's never been in that stipulation, and I didn't really care that much. But seeing the matches, it was okay. It wasn't too bad. The main thing is the outcome of every match, or most of the matches I guess I'm saying last night because I'm not in UK. Yesterday afternoon, for our time. It was pretty good seeing. My dark horse was actually Damian Priest. I actually thought it was going to either be Paul or dang it, who's the other person I was thinking of? Paul or yeah, LA Knight. Speaking of LA Knight, for weeks I kept mentioning in the chat of the reviews and stuff like that. I was like, why are you guys obsessed with LA Knight? And I watched a few of his promos Friday nights. And I was like, okay, pretty good. I don't like the his catchphrase though. It's kind of like the yeah thing. I'm like, he sounds like Stone Cold a little bit, and I love Stone Cold, but even when he came up with the what chance, that's one thing about Stone Cold's character I still to this day do not like. Nothing.
Now this guy, when you look at LA Knight, I do see like he was influenced by Dwayne Johnson, Steve Austin. Is that really a problem when those guys were so over and you saw Jericho like kind of be like a Shawn Michael? You know what I mean? Like that kind of is what the business is about, carrying generations over because you were inspired. I don't know. I think it's fine.
Yeah, he's good. I'm just saying, now watching those promos, I'm like, okay, he can talk. He can talk his butt off. He reminds me of Mr. Kennedy a little bit, like a kind of a buffer, swole Mr. Kennedy. But it's just that catchphrase I don't like. I don't like it with Stone Cold's what. I don't like the yeah from LA Knight. That's the only thing. Other than that, yeah, I would have definitely.
What if he did dummy yeah like he used to? Well, then would you like it?
I didn't know LA Knight until he got to WWE, so that's the only thing. But yeah, and Io Sky. It's interesting, like you said, that she just had a pay-per-view match a few months ago, lost to Bianca, and she's still in it. And yeah, it's really unusual. So I'm assuming they have some big plans for her in the future because usually the established people like the John Cena's, the Becky Lynch's, the Roman Reigns, that going back to Stone Cold, all the people that are always in the main event scenes that they lose their match a month ago, and now they're in another stipulation match. I forgot. I was watching something a couple of days ago where I think it was like a replay of something, and John Cena, the Money in the Bank a previous thing. I'm like, why is John Cena in this match if he can just get a title shot whenever? And I was like, yeah, that actually kind of pissed me off back in the day when he was in the Money in the Bank, because it's John Cena. Like, it's Jordan, it's John Cena. Like, those names mean something. They can call this shot whenever they want to. They're the big shot.
All right, this guy, you're talking about the big names here, Roman Reigns. What was your thoughts on how everything played out with the Bloodline Civil War? Roman Reigns taking his first pin since Baron Corbin in 2019, or whenever it was.
I'm kind of shocked. I thought they were gonna barely edge out the victory, and I'm really shocked at that. What is this? The spear Samoan Spike combo was fantastic. I wish they put that in the video games next year, but they're not going to, and I'm gonna cry. But but yeah, I'm shocked he did. But it's at the same time, it's not really that shocking because Roman's a family man. The Rock's like the family is a family. I cannot say their last name. Oh, and why? Like I never go to say their last name. Yeah. But they're a family. So obviously they're going to put their family over especially when it makes sense. Even if Vince, I'm not sure if he's on the show or not, he's going to say step for his cousin, like, hey, they need to go over because we need to continue the storyline. They know what's best for business because this is selling like hotcakes. They've been running this show for the last 2.5 years. So to keep this thing going, you're going to have to make some twists and turns. And this is the best twist that you can have since the Sami Zayn getting jumped and then leaving the bloodline. The best twist since Roman beat Jay into submission, saying, hey, you my right-hand man now. They need more and more twists. And to keep this thing going, if they run out of twists and it's just like stale, and just like Aaron said, I think yesterday or a couple of days ago, up until Sami Zayn joined the bloodline, they started running out of material. So you need to continue adding material unless you're not going to have much of a show going on. The only unfortunate thing with the bloodline is it's what I always say. They put too much stake into Roman, and if knock on wood, I have some wood in front of me. If something happens to his leg or whatever, it's going to derail it. So they need to have some more players in this storyline other than the family, because again, knock on wood, if something happens to him or one of the other members of the bloodline, you're going to be up a creek.
I think he's been pretty reliable though, because he was out with leukemia for 3 months and he was back. I'm
just saying we don't know. We don't control fate. Fate is there. And the fact of the matter is, like, same thing with Stone Cold, even The Rock, like all the top names, they've had their random injury. They were fined for 364 days, and then that one day they got screwed. The Rock with the rock bottom tore his pecs off at the facing John Cena. We could have seen a longer storyline with that. So the fact that you keep putting so much on one person, it's not a good thing. You're putting the world literally on this man's back.
Yeah,
as it should be. That's how wrestling. That's how Vince McMahon turned a $1 million company into look what it's at today.
I know, but now we have a whole Hogan.
You don't go against your business practices because of what wrestling fans think. I have to point that out, and I want more main eventers because the Attitude Era was great, and you had a revolving door of them. They just don't do that anymore. We don't know why. They just don't.
We had Ruthless Aggression. We had Randy. We had Triple H coming from the previous era. We had Kane coming from the previous era. We had Big Show. We had all these, and then we had Edge ascending to the main event. We had Thou Shall Not Be Named, CB, ascend to the next level.
Chris Benoit, one of the greatest professional wrestlers alive.
I'm just not trying to make any enemies.
When he was alive, when he was alive, he was one of the greatest.
Yeah,
now not so much.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, we had two back-to-back eras of a whole table of main eventers going back and forth, passing the titles between each other month to month, and you're like, oh man, this is fantastic. And now we have this generation. We have post Super Cena, and we have current greatest of all time Roman Reigns.
Well, this guy, we'll come back to you again if something pops up as we're continuing this discussion. Feel free to raise your hand, but we got to get Walter Cruz in here because he looks like he was bored. Walter, Money in the Bank fallout.
Sorry.
What's your thoughts?
No,
it's all good.
I'm not bored. I'm not bored. My eyes are just itching from salt water.
Well, go ahead.
I'm gonna disagree with TJS and say I like the pacing of this event. He said something in the super chat, and Aaron was like, "Well, what do you want?" Because it seemed like he didn't like the pacing of certain matches, but I think they paced every match pretty well. I like that Damon Priest won the Money in the Bank because it's something I didn't see coming. Like some of the matches that I got wrong, I'm actually glad I got wrong because I like what they did. Like I didn't see Damian Priest winning. I thought it was going to be LA Knight like everybody else. But I'm the kind of wrestling fan that I like when they don't give me what I want immediately because maybe it gives him a better chance to get more over, even more. And maybe they, at some point, like Daniel Bryan years back, they are forced to do something where they have to, all right, we got to listen to him because it's getting overwhelming and now something's got to happen. Plus, yeah, it would have been publicity with Logan Paul, but here's my thing. Like, remember when Undertaker was working hurt and then somebody had to decide for Edge to cash in, which would have been Mr. Kennedy, but Edge had to cash in last second because Undertaker was hurt. So in order to get the title off of him, they just told Edge, you can't do that if Logan Paul wasn't Money in the Bank. Because Vince likes to change things last second. So an hour before the show, if Logan's, halfway across the world, you can't fly him out the same day to do that. So I didn't think Logan would win just for that fact alone, because somebody backstage was there all the time, should have the case. And I mean, it would have been good for publicity, but it just wouldn't have made no sense from that perspective. Everybody thought Lesnar was going to show up. He didn't show up, which I'm glad because it costs way too much money to have Lesnar fly from Canada to London for a 5-minute appearance for that. So that I never saw. I never saw that coming. I didn't agree with that. But I'm glad Io won. So that was a good thing. And then with Jay pinning Roman, I thought that was perfect because it leaves the door for him to become main event Jay again. And now comes the one-on-one match with Jay, the one-on-one with Jimmy, and eventually Solo is going to end up going one-on-one. And then Roman's on the island all alone. But the invincibility, the whole aura, the aura surrounding Roman is gone. And now the Money in the Bank makes more sense because now he's vulnerable. Somebody can cash in against him and pin him. Before, if Roman would have won his invincibility thing, you would have only thought Priest can cash in on Seth. You would have never thought about Roman. Now, if he does go and cashes it on Roman, you'll have your gripers no matter what, but it'll at least make more sense because look, he was vulnerable. He lost to Jay. He can lose to anybody. Somebody can cash in on him. So I'm glad, and I'm with Aaron. Even though I'm not a streamer like Aaron, I'm glad that the pay-per-views in London end early like that. I'm all for it. I got to do other stuff here in Puerto Rico after the main event ended. It was still like what 6-7 o'clock Eastern. We still got to go do stuff. So I'm all for it. And then we'll talk about what John Cena did and his purpose later. But I'm glad. I'm overall this PLE, and I'm sorry, but it beat Forbidden Door. I know the AEW diehards are gonna be like, "Oh, you're just a WWE guy," but it blew Forbidden Door out of the water.
Whoa.
You said it. Well, one other thing before I pass it over to Aaron, I just I know Logan Paul likes to do his big spots because he's the YouTuber and it's going to go viral. Mm-hmm. And I know Ricochet is usually like springboard and everything looks clean and safe. But boy, last night was that scary for both of them. They're oh man.
I think they were supposed to land on the way they do a flip, right?
And yes, we make fun of AEW. See, that's the thing. WWE does have those things, but they're way fewer and farther between the riskier spots than in AEW. But last night was one of them. I mean, that was one of them. I was like, ugh. You know what I mean?
Logan's shoulder was bleeding, wasn't it? Was it his shoulder?
Yeah. But like the way they flipped and luckily they're obviously Logan Paul knows how to work and Ricochet is a pro. They talked perfect, like it worked, but man, that could have been ugly. Okay. Yeah. Aaron, over to you.
Well, regarding that spot, that was very ambitious. And I'll give WWE credit in their defense. It's a major pay-per-view. It's not a random episode of Raw or a random episode of Dynamite. If you're going to do the really crazy stuff, save it for the big money shows. And Money in the Bank was a sold-out crowd in London, England. And I believe it was, according to Triple H, the highest gate ever for an arena WWE show of all time. Like, that's insane how much business they did for that Money in the Bank. So if you're going to do something insane, that's the show to do it, right? Or WrestleMania or SummerSlam. You do it at a major card. You don't do it on a random television show. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, as I mentioned in my recap of the show. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, for the panel, could Jey Uso be the next John Cena? And I'll start on that one regarding this. Jeff is shaking his head no. And I agree. Like, I love Jey Uso. He's doing such a great job in this storyline. But I do not see Jey beating Roman Reigns and becoming the new tribal chief. I think Roman Reigns will get through him. I think Roman Reigns will probably get through all of them in a four-way match, and maybe Solo will face Roman Reigns in a singles match at some point. Roman will likely face Jimmy Uso, and that's going to be his direction to WrestleMania is going to be trying to get through the entire bloodline, and then we'll see if Cody Rhodes steps up to the plate. Cody Rhodes said that the story finishing is winning that title that his father never won, which is the WWE title, that lineage. I still think we might see that match in WrestleMania, but whatever they do, right now I'm very intrigued about where this is all going. You got a very solid SummerSlam card that is shaping up here. You got Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in their blow-off match. You might have LA Knight versus Austin Theory or LA Knight versus Logan Paul. My hope is that they will push LA Knight as an upper card guy despite not winning Money in the Bank. If they do, at the end of the day, I think that'll be fine. Money in the Bank with Damian Priest. Priest is a guy that has really worked hard and put on some great performances this year, and it advances the Judgment Day storyline. And I'm happy for the guy. He's 40, he's getting his big break now. I hope LA Knight gets his as well. WWE business continues to be on fire, and I'm very excited for this SummerSlam pay-per-view coming up and what's going to happen.
Yes, Walt.
I don't think that Jay's going to beat that up. And Jay, I think this is all for Roman. The one who's going to benefit the most is Roman. They're going to finally get you to cheer him and be the big baby face eventually. He's going to come back. It's going to all go 180. And this is the plan all along. Everybody complained that Vince shoved Roman down your throat. Watch. It's all to become the sympathetic baby face again. And everybody's going to love Roman again. So that's what this is. I don't think it's for Jay to be the next Cena or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's a negative for me to answer that super chat.
Yeah.
Aaron, what else you got?
I think we're caught up.
Okay.
I'm ready to move on to the next topic, and we'll definitely talk about London and WrestleMania possibilities. So we'll save that for the end.
And just the drama that they produce with the Bloodline angle, when it's all like, it doesn't matter who goes over, because it's always to be continued, and it's good stuff, great stuff, and that's where we're at. And Roman getting pinned by Jay just sets the table for more. Like, we're gonna want to tune in now, see what's next, see the trash talking, and Roman's vulnerable now, right? That's the way they presented him lately. So that's what it's all about, and that's where we're heading towards SummerSlam. Okay, before we get to our topic of John Cena, why he was at Money in the Bank, the potential, what could stem from what he said way down the line in the future, let's talk about just a little bit from AEW here. And this guy experience, I hope you did some homework and went and watched this. And it comes down to Sting, 64 years old. I have no problem with age. I mean, look what Mae Young used to do at her age in WWE back in the day. But the problem I have with Sting attempting that spot is this is veteran Sting. For a whole year in WCW, he just pointed a bat from the rafters, came down, gave some people scorpion death drops, got over. It wasn't his fault that the payoff match sucked with Hogan. But why does he need to do this to fit in with those young guys in AEW? Because, man, that was bad. At least being Sting. This is the Sting that had that issue with Jeff Hardy in that match. You know what I mean? In TNA. Why wouldn't he have said, let's do something a little bit different? Let's make the spot where, okay, I'll jump off the rope onto a table, but let's make it like closer. I'm just shocked this got put on live TV. This guy experience, man, Sting should know better. I'm a nay. It's a yay or nay, and I'm nay with that. That was bad stuff, and Sting should know better. Let's go around and see everybody's thoughts. See what the chat says. This guy.
All right. I'm sorry.
Did he bust his mouth too? Like, come on, Sting, you're better than that. It has nothing to do with age, by the way, to me. He could have been 44 in that spot. I would have still been like, what the hell? If he messed it up like he did. All right, go ahead.
No, it's still funny. I mean, and I'm glad he didn't like have a major injury. I watched it twice right before we started. And I was the first time I was like, oh man. And then the second time I kind of giggled about it, like, why? Yeah, you're a veteran. Like you're one of the greatest of all time. Why? You should know that. I don't know if it's like a midlife crisis something or like, but you should know that that's very dangerous. Like you got back in the ring how many years ago? Was it 6-7 years ago with Seth Rollins, and it was a basic. I mean, the buckle bomb is an awesome finisher anyway, but it was that's on the same level. Like you're only like what, like 2-3 inches taller than Seth, but you're going to a ladder onto the outside of the ring onto tables. And unfortunately, he only cracked one of the tables. The other one, he almost busted his face on. Well, luckily, he had his like arms to stop it. I don't know why Tony Khan, what are they called? The people that help design the matches. I forgot what they're called.
Agents.
Agents. I don't know why the agents didn't say no, this is not good. And definitely, Sting has the power to veto that. All the wrestlers do, but it's going to hurt their pushes. But who's going to like Sting is pretty much invulnerable. Again, I said it before. The John Cena's, Roman Reigns, Rock's, Takers, all those type of names, like they have their name holds like massive value and massive like power behind it. If Sting says no, I honestly just think it's a midlife crisis situation, and he's just trying to put up with the younger guys, which makes no sense. Just work like Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, he's obviously like what 5-6 years younger than Sting's, but yet he doesn't
10.
do any high flying. 10?
Probably 10.
Oh wow! But yeah, he doesn't do that crazy high flying stuff. Does he even do the lion salt anymore? I don't think so. I think the last time he did it was like so. Okay. Last time he did it was like
he breaks it out on like certain big time pay-per-views, I guess, but not really.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what drew me to Chris Jericho when I was younger, because he always did the lion salt, and as he got older, he said, "Let me change up my moveset. Let me work smarter or harder, not smarter." The same thing with Debra or I want to say Christopher Daniels. Dang it, what's his real name? Brian Danielson.
Brian Danielson.
Yeah. You're getting you get older, your body's gonna and even Stone Cold, like you get certain injuries, your body gets older and stuff like that. You can't just do the same thing you were doing before. And again, I watched a little bit of Sting when I was a kid in WCW, and he didn't do crazy stuff like that either. So I don't know why he's doing this at his age. It just doesn't make any sense. And AEW ultimately, I don't have the ability to watch AEW. I just watch some of the clips when it's very important. And I still, to the life of me, I'm back with Randy's tweet from like years ago, the dive situation. They need to do more compelling storylines than just keep jumping off of stuff, because we have stuntmen like Jeff Hardy who's in like legal troubles stemming from the fact that he was just a stuntman with no character development. And that's my main issue with. That's why I don't like Jeff Hardy as a wrestler or as a person, because of the constant DUIs. But again, the DUIs is not necessarily 100% his fault to a certain degree because of his injuries sustained from doing it so long. And then on top of that, the people in AEW, the smaller guys who just don't have charisma or character to put in to get them over, like just do something else. I don't know. Again, I'm not a wrestler. I'm just saying. I'm just being a fan. I should be an analyst. Like that's the thing we got to do. We got to take ourselves out of fan mode and to be an analyst mode. And I'm being a fan right now, and I should just be an analyst. But anyway, go ahead. I'm done.
Well, the analysts should be the ones that did it, like the wrestler, like the Bret Harts and the people like that. So we're always going to be in that fan realm, and it's okay. Like that, we can still give opinions. Walter, I'm going to go to you next. And do you remember, at least through the network or watching clips, Sting in WCW, like especially when he went silent, dude, it was just sitting there pointing his bat, dropping down, Scorpion Death Drop, which is an inverted DDT, or he'd hit people with the bat when he'd get swarmed by a bunch of people from the NWO. That was all he had to do, and it was over, like ridiculous over. And I mean, like, and that was young. You could have still worked at a full like rate back then. I don't know. What's your thoughts here?
Once the lights went out,
he can do whatever the hell he wants. But I mean, God, man, set a better example for that locker room that needs a better example set. That's just what I think. Go ahead.
Once the lights went out, he got the biggest pop. Everybody knew he was just going to drop down, and that's all it took. Was that point? But now I'm a nay. I agree with you. I'm a nay. I'm not one to tell you what to do with your body. You know, saying Sting knows your body better than anyone else. So if you feel like you can take it, bless you. But yeah, at this point, I wouldn't be doing that. And I blame the damn marks. It's the AEW culture. It's the flippity dippity, all the high fly. It's that culture that amped him up where he thinks, oh, I can do this. But you better smarten up before you end up in a wheelchair, God forbid, or something happens. So I just, at this point, I love Sting. I love nostalgia. But I think that the rivalry should end up to a retirement match with Jericho. Jericho should win, and Sting can ride off to the sunset the way he wanted to, instead of something else forcing him to retire. Like, I'm all for wrestlers retiring on their own the way they want to go. But I mean, at the same time, it's his body. If he knows it, he feels like he can take it, more power to you. But I don't want to see a 65-year-old man jumping off and then risking himself and other people. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to have another somber, sad video about somebody getting hurt in the ring or injured. Yeah. I don't want to do that kind of stream.
And
so
Walter, if the table was closer and he just kind of jumped down and he landed on it and it broke, it doesn't have to be like a Logan Paul leap or Shane McMahon leap. You know what I mean? the spot. Someone mentioned Ric Flair jumping off a ladder, WrestleMania 22, but it was. I don't think it was a botch. I think it was a pretty decent. That's what I'm saying. If Sting's going to do something, make it as safe as possible. It can still look cool for Sting to do anything like that. Did it have to be so extreme? I don't know.
It didn't. The name Sting alone is a pop within itself. You don't need to look for pop. So just
like him going through somebody through a table, that whole concept, okay. Yeah. Just like work it a little bit safer. I don't know. But all right.
Yeah. Rewind the clock. Look at his debut. All it took was the snow, the name Sting, and him popping out. He didn't have to do anything. And how loud was that arena? So
and then we got an alternate Jeff Meacham here that just
what the hell is going on here?
I want the other Jeff Meacham back that I just saw in the Matrix.
I was trying to get the camera to stop being blurry. It's not working that way.
Okay, Jeff, your turn on Stinger.
Sting!
Sting.
Go ahead, call him Steve Borden. I know you want to.
Yeah, you got to call him Steve. That's how Jeff does it. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm not calling him Steve. I'm not getting in trouble again. Anyway, look. Is it necessary for him to do a dive like that at his age and his career? No, of course not. But, he likes doing that stuff. The AEW locker room seems to enjoy him doing that. So as long as he's careful enough where he's not getting hurt, who are we to tell a 60-something-year-old man don't do that, because we're not his kids. We're not his wife. So, I'm okay with it. As a fan, it didn't affect me one way or the other, to be honest with you. And that match was put in place to be the quote-unquote cool down between Ospreay and Omega and Okada and Danielson. So that's what that match was. It was supposed to be one of those, okay, it's not going to be your classic, six-man match, where it's going to be all lucha moves and be completely, another train wreck like we did just seen with Omega and Ospreay, but it's also not going to be, a half hour of headlocks either. You got to have a good mix. And Sting at, at his age and his stage of his career, it was oh, wow, he actually did that moment. It wasn't oh God, I hope he's not going to die moment. For a lot of people it was maybe, but I was okay with it. I think people are just reading too much into, oh, well, Tony's making Tony's not going to make Sting do a goddamn thing he doesn't want to do. Okay.
Jeff,
Sting
I'm confused here. When did that spot happen? What show was that on?
Dynamite.
Okay. Not Forbidden Door. No, it was Dynamite, and Dynamite. Like if it was Forbidden Door, I probably would.
Oh, okay.
I'd still be like, why? But I would be like, okay, he did it on a pay-per-view, but no, he did it on free TV.
Well, and again, that part alters my thought process. I swore I thought it was on Forbidden Door. That's how little I was paying attention. Apparently,
I was waiting for the chat to say something, but
no, you're good. It's even on free TV. You know what? Sting, for whatever reason, got it in his head, or somebody got it in their head that was producing that match to go, hey, let's see what this spot does. And did it really pay off in the long term? What is a TV spot supposed to do, Virtue? It's supposed to generate more interest in the paid product that we're going to see on a Saturday or a Sunday or Friday night sometimes. I don't think that spot got anybody going, man, what's going to happen at the pay-per-view now? I really don't think that was a necessary thing, but I also don't see the need to, harp on Sting or, the person behind the Sting paint, Steve Borden. Oh, well, God, Steve's too old for this shit. That's a Steve Borden / Sting judgment call.
And it also encourages he's the veteran that should be setting the example. That's the problem with AEW. None of those veterans are setting the right example for how to work. And he should know how to work. That's not working. And he's enabling those stupid young wrestlers who feel entitled to do that shit that are going to shorten their careers, make them and put them in wheelchairs a lot earlier. I don't know, man. That's just what sets it all wrong with me. I know we can't have everything old school style wrestling. I know we can't go back to that 100%.
No.
But damn, I wish some veterans could. Maybe CM Punk's that guy that's trying to do it, but it's the place he's trying to do it might not be the right place with those fans that want the other stuff. That's what really makes me mad about it, Jeff.
Kind of hard to use a 1920s fire extinguisher in 2023. It's like I can't handle all this shit. That ain't gonna happen. So maybe Punk is fighting an uphill battle. I don't know, because Punk stage dove himself into a year off. So it's the same kind of shit. with him.
I mean,
So-
Sting's a legend. I can't give him that pat. Like, those are the guys I would think that would try to get some of the guys to work smarter. Working is what it's called, not wrestling, not acrobatics.
Exactly.
Working.
Exactly.
You go out there, you make the fans think it's real. You could get it banged up here and there, but you're still okay to do the next town. But that's one of the problems, Jeff. They don't work the schedules they used to, and they work less, so they do more when they work. But that's what creates the severe potential injuries or the weird spots that look like shit.
I brought this up, I think, on this show a couple weeks ago. That was why the business evolved in the 1920s in the first place, because you were having guys going out there, and if they break their arm or they get a cauliflower, they can't work and make money for their families. So they brought the work into the wrestling. But as you pointed out, they're not working as often as they did when Sting was having to evolve his character in 1995, 96, 97, where they were on the road for. And even then, WCW wasn't doing as many house shows as WWF was at the time. But yeah, they're working twice a week, 3 if it was a pay-per-view. Whatever. They're not carrying as much. I do agree with you as far as I personally don't think he should have done it. For the record, I don't. It was unnecessary.
I know, but it's Sting. He made a choice. I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah, and it's just one of those things. You and I are always going to think that people should work smart, not work hard, because that's how you make money in this business. But also, he's in a company that is full of the young bucks of the world that were going to do 25 super kicks and get their rocks off, and people are going Tope Suicida in the damn announcement. So
all right, well we got to get to the next event soon, or our main event. But Walter, go ahead.
I just wanted to say AEW needs that Undertaker backstage, like that person that puts his foot down, that veteran that really does is like, no, I'm not doing that, and set the example. So I'm with Virtual, and that they need that. That's the problem. AEW doesn't have that Undertaker presence in back where that locker room leader.
I know. And how ironic, though, you say that and Undertaker worked the Hell in a Cell match with Mick Foley. Yeah. But to be fair, Foley, you weren't going to stop Foley from doing what he did that match, no matter who you were. That was, so he's paying the price for all that. But all right, Aaron, over to you if you have anything to add. I don't know if any chats came in. Yeah. And then we can move on to the main event.
We got a couple here. First of all, This Guy Experience wanted to throw in $2, so thank you for that. Says, who wants to see Taker versus Sting now? I mean, that
only
match,
in video games.
Somebody might legitimately die if they had a match like that.
Too late.
Yeah, it's just way too late. But yeah, let's just say for argument's sake that WWE allowed it. It would not be a pretty sight. Like, the best time to have done it would have been 2011, in my opinion.
Only do it on the Switch now or the PlayStation, or that's about it.
How's everybody liking that AEW game, by the way?
It's good. And by the way, I have my official review is up on the NoDQ YouTube channel, so you guys should check it out if you haven't seen it.
And Tito has a column one, right? Also on NoDQ? There you go.
Tito wrote a column. And speaking of Tito, we sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Tito. Says, AEW locker room loves Sting for trying that. Sting was willing to do it. Well, Sting even said that Tony Khan allowed it. I think Sting wanted to do it. Here's the thing. Sting wants to hang with the cool kids. We saw that in WWE.
Cool, they're not cool.
Okay. The crowd chants, this is awesome at them, but I get what you're saying.
The niche crowd.
Sting wants to hang out with the kids that the AEW fans think are cool. How about that?
I like that better.
All right. So back at WWE, it was the same thing. Sting wanted to hang with the young guys. He wanted to go out there and do the match with Seth Rollins and was trying to keep up with Seth Rollins. And what happened? He got seriously hurt. He had to retire for several years. He came back, and I liked what they were doing. And I think maybe now Sting is starting to feel a little bit too comfortable. What they did over the past few years was perfect. They did a cinematic match, and then they did tag matches where Sting could do a limited amount of moves and maybe come in, Scorpion Death Drop, Stinger Splash, Scorpion Deathlock, so on and so forth. And then he got a little bit more bold. He started jumping off balconies, but granted, it was like onto 5 people and they could all stand there to catch him. It was fairly safe. What happened on Dynamite was not safe. Like, he could have gotten seriously hurt, and all it takes is one accident and somebody could be paralyzed or worse. We saw what happened with Draws all those years ago, and I don't want to see another incident like that, as Walter brought up. And of course, anytime these guys go out there and do a match, it's a risk. But I think what Sting did was reckless, and he should not be doing that again. But at the end of the day, it's like Walter said, his decision. Tony Khan should really step up and say, it's cool. You've done all there is to do, but no more crazy, reckless moves. One more match, 2 more matches here and there, and you work a safe style, that's fine. But no insane bumps, especially on a Dynamite. Like, at least if they did it at All In, you could make the argument, well, if, as Roddy Piper said, the promoter told him, if you're going to die in the ring, if you're going to die in the ring, it's good for business type of deal. And Sting probably has that mentality too. He's old school like that, where he wants to go out there and leave it all in the ring every night. Even if he's 64 years old, he doesn't care. He wants to keep doing it. It very much reminds me of Randy the Ram from The Wrestler. Like, he just can't let it go. He just cannot walk away from wrestling. He just has to keep doing it until we can no longer physically do it, period. And whatever that means is what it means. But anyways, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. And yeah, that Dynamite was kind of a mess. And they did one of their lowest numbers demo-wise of all time. So yeah, they gotta figure something out. Collision, their numbers, week 2, not too good compared to week 1, and we haven't gotten the 3rd week numbers out yet. But like, I pretty much forgot that Collision was even on, and I know a lot of other people did too. Like, there's just no buzz for it now, which is crazy to think when CM Punk is part of the show. I feel like the buzz around CM Punk is already starting to wear off. So yeah, as a whole,
AEW has no buzz. MJF maybe. There's nobody else that has any.
It was also week 3. It was a tape show, and Bloodline and WWE were dominating the weekend. I mean, I'm not excusing or disagreeing with AEW not having, cooling off majorly after the first 2 weeks, but the rating went down in week 2 also. So, but there was no way WWE was not going to dominate the talk this weekend. It wasn't going to be a thing. So,
yeah. We do have a few more super chats here. Aaron World Order, I did not create this group, by the way, says, my issue is too many false finishes. AEW wrestlers like more durability, or have like more durability than Superman.
Well, we talked about that last night on the open mic night as far as the Ospreay Omega match. I don't mind the false finishes. Just Ospreay hit Omega with he stabbed him, he shot him, he blew him up with a bazooka, he hit him in the cannon, and then he hit a freaking simple wrestling move and he pinned him. It's like, these moves were in the right order to make this work. So it seemed like it was overkill because the wrong move finished the match for me.
Guess what? It got 6 stars, Jeff.
Actually, no, Okada and no, I'm sorry, you're right. No, wait a second. Oh, well, okay, you know what? We actually talked about that last night, too, because Meltzer showed his freaking hand there. Oh, the technical masterpiece got less stars than the bludgeoning of Kenny Omega. He is so subjective.
Oh, Van Vliet crushed him. Was that legit? Did Van Vliet really have that interview with Meltzer?
Oh, I don't know. Did he?
I think that was real.
Over why Kurt Angle never got a 5-star match.
Oh, I hope so. I love Chris.
I don't know if that was doctored or legit.
Goddamn
man.
Chris.
But anyway,
man, Chris is great, and I hope he tore Meltzer apart. What a subjective piece of shit he turned out to be.
Because I don't think that's a guy where Meltzer probably agreed to do an interview with him, and I don't think he knew that was going to be, those questions were going to be asked. I think he was caught off guard, but I don't know how legit that is. People can verify it, but go ahead.
Well, good. He should be caught off guard because people have been giving him so much credence for ever since Montreal when Brett gave him that complete access. Before that, he was read in the locker rooms, and that's fine. He was, the loser was passed around, and all of a sudden Brett gives him full access and gives him the real side of the story. And now Meltzer's shit don't stink. Well, guess what, Dave? You totally blew your own door off the freaking hinges because you've been getting these technical masterpieces, all these stars for so many years. Freaking Ospreay damn near murdered Kenny Omega on live television, and you gave them a better reign than you did a technical genius of a work that was Okada Danielson. Shut the F up. I'll be good, Aaron.
All right, Aaron, more super chats. What's up before we move to the main event?
Jeff, back in 1992, there was a Phil Donahue show about the WWE drug and sex scandal.
Right.
And guess who was sitting right next to Vince McMahon with his mullet?
Well, to be fair, everybody had a mullet in 92 except me because I didn't have the long enough period.
When did you ever get to sit next to Vince McMahon on a talk show?
On a talk show, I didn't get to sit next to him. No, I didn't.
Well, there you go. Anyways.
2.9 mil Meltzer.
Exactly.
2.0 mil.
I can't even touch that, man.
No.
I'm a B+ player next to DM.
Oh,
anyways, the DVD Freak sent it a $2 super chat. Says, what is everyone's favorite iteration of Sting? This is a great question.
Yeah.
And I'll answer first. I would go with the classic Crow from 97. That was my favorite when he did not talk and just came down there, beat the hell out of the NWO. That's my favorite. Most underrated version is the Joker Sting. Yep. I miss that, and I want more of that. He should come out there, do that instead of taking crazy bumps. Come out there and act like the Heath Ledger Joker character again. That would be fun. And wear that red suit that he wore in that one episode of Impact.
Yeah. I realized, by the way, I was totally talking and rambling on, and this guy Experience had his hand up for quite a bit of that, my little rant.
So did Walter, and you just ignored him.
I was ignoring Walter.
When their hands go up, your mouth goes shut.
All right. Well, what do you have to say, this guy?
It was just one question and one quick statement. How old was Ric Flair when he retired full time from WWE with the "I Love You" super kick?
5'9",
and then how old?
59.
59. So 5 years younger than that's still bad.
Yeah.
And then the second part was for AEW, similar to what you guys said, I think last week, and I've been wondering the same thing. Hire Jim Johnston for the music, and then two, we have so many writers the last 30 years from WWE. I understand you don't want to be exactly like your competition, but in order to save your wrestlers' knees, elbows, and brain matter, why don't you hire somebody to write these compelling storylines, at least 5 people, and get your wrestlers to save their time for these pay-per-views. Granted, they only do 4 to 5 pay-per-views a year, but you can still have those once in a blue moon, was it 12 months out of a year? You can have one crazy stunt per month or every other month, excluding the pay-per-views, and then during that time build the matches up to mean something, have threading storylines. And granted, I'm not gonna let WWE off this. I'm not gonna even rant. I'm just gonna say WWE just now got back into doing what they used to do. That's what I'm saying. So AEW needs to do.
They need to do more stuff like the Bloodline.
Yeah, well, not even just. I'm just saying have a threaded storyline. Bloodline. Mega Powers Explode, who ran over Stone Cold, stuff like that, stuff that can thread throughout months and months and months to save your wrestlers' knees, brain matter, and stuff like that. They don't always got to jump off of high spots. Jeff Hardy. Anyway, go ahead.
Wolfpack Sting for me, Aaron, by the way.
All right, fair enough.
I'm down with the Joker's thing. The Joker's thing was good to see him slowly go crazy. That's the one good thing about TNA. The one positive you can say. The positives you can say.
Yeah, say they had a few in their defense.
The Man in Mafia thing was good too.
Yeah, when you had Booker T and Kevin Nash on commentary. What were their names? Chet something and Black Snow, I think.
I don't remember.
It was something weird like that. Yeah, I remember seeing a post about that.
I got to look it up now. But anyways, they were doing commentary, and that episode. I still remember that episode of Impact Wrestling when they went out there and did their whole thing. That was hilarious.
Main Event Mafia was one
and
of
Scott
the best
Steiner was the ring announcer
stories.
too.
That was like one of the best stories TNA ever did, period.
Yeah. Yes, Chat Lemon and Black Snow. I found it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Scott Steiner did the commentary for the show. That was a fun episode of Rampage, Impact, whatever. All right, we can move on.
Are we super chats caught up?
Yeah, we're caught up.
Okay, main event. John Cena had a surprise appearance. I believe it was a surprise appearance at Money in the Bank. I was like talking with Jeff in the chat about this earlier. Is it verified, Jeff, that the McIntyre surprise was first before Cena came out? Because I can't remember.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know why you would do two surprises, like that in the same night. I mean, yes, they got to pop. Both got to pop. But you just never want to devalue the first one by having another one. I mean, it's not the Royal Rumble. You said Cena was over there filming a movie. Great. So that's why he didn't have to fly. It's just weird that he just randomly showed up to do this whole shtick about could WrestleMania come to London? And I think it should. Like, it absolutely should at Wembley Stadium, because you know what's going to be at Wembley Stadium this year. So what are we looking into with this whole John Cena appearance at Money in the Bank, Jeff? I'll start with you on this one since we talked about it in the chat.
Yeah.
I wish they would have said, hey, John Cena is going to be at Money in the Bank in London. They didn't have to say why he was over there. I'm sure fans would have been like, oh, he's filming a movie. They could have even had, hey, Grayson Waller effect with John Cena. Tune in at Money in the Bank. I don't know. I'm all for surprises, but John Cena, to me, you should bill him. I don't know. But the WrestleMania thing or another SummerSlam at Wembley Stadium in the future, bring it, baby. Bring it. Yeah. AEW is going to do it. WWE, reclaim your territory, man. What do you think, Jeff?
That is exactly why they're doing that now.
John Cena saying that's for a reason. Yeah. I don't care if he was already over there filming a movie. Why bring him out there to say that at all? Go ahead.
There was no reason for him to travel even 5 minutes unless there was serious consideration. Oh, well, the office doesn't believe it. If they didn't believe it, he wouldn't have got out there in the first freaking place.
Bingo. You're right.
But, it's always good to see John. The music hits, people go ape shit. It was an awesome moment. But like you pointed out, it completely almost downplayed Drew McIntyre's return after we've had serious discussion on multiple panels about, is Drew happy? Is he going to be back on TV? Is he back with the company? Is he going to leave the company? And it was, he walked out there, did a Claymore kick spot, and he walked back out. And once John came out there, it was, oh, that's right. When we watched the end of the show, that's right. Drew came back tonight. I was already forgotten. That's where I had a problem with it. As far as WrestleMania being over there, it's, Hunter was being very clear at the press conference. They're a global company. They're trying to be have a more global footprint. They've had special NXT events over in Japan. They've had, 4 of the last 5 premium events have been outside of the lower 48. I'm okay with it. I'm even okay with it being SummerSlam. I'd much rather be WrestleMania just to have that buzz, because they've done the SummerSlam thing at in London. And yeah, them pushing for a mega event
2 nights.
How many weeks before AEW? It's like it's not a coincidence, right? I think it would be cool. Am I going to fly over there? Probably not.
And it would be great for us, Aaron. It would start at what? Saturday and Sunday if they do the 2 night thing.
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
1 o'clock, and I know we're talking obviously could be 3 years or more down the road, but maybe within the next 5 or less.
Hey, it's one of those because we've heard it's pretty concrete. They're gonna be in Philly next year for sure. That's a definite thing. You've heard Nashville be discussed recently. You've heard Minnesota be discussed recently. I don't know about Minnesota, and even in late March, early April, that's still dangerous.
Yeah, that's cold. That's cold.
That's cold as heck up there. I know that's a good idea. That almost be as bad as Green Bay, almost.
If they did it in Minneapolis, though, they should do a Raw or SmackDown in the Mall of America like WCW did back in the day. That would be a great throwback. Or NXT.
Yeah, NXT. There you go. NXT.
Like that week. Yeah. I don't know, but go ahead.
Have NXT and just use the old Nitro stylization just to piss at Tony even more. That'd be so funny. Anyway, I'm all for the events going all over the place, because it's for years the whole point of Vince's thing was to try to, we're not a Northeast territory anymore. We're not a, East Coast. We're a national brand. We're a global brand. It's like, okay, so have WrestleMania on Mars in 10 years, like Sergeant Slaughter talked about. That'd be a hell of a trip. I don't know if I would go, but
right.
But it's not sure about the insurance cost on that one. But WrestleMania being in a foreign market outside of North America would be a huge step for WWE because they've always been hesitant to do that.
Yeah.
They did SummerSlam, but it was also on I think it was a Monday when they did it with Davey and Brett, I think, is if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And I believe it aired at the usual time that it would air in the United States because back then they were not worried about the spoilers getting out. There was no internet for that.
More and more PLEs outside the States, though. Like it feels like that slow growth to that is happening.
Well, because figure if they do it if they do WrestleMania in London proper at Wembley or some other big stadium in the United Kingdom, it wouldn't start any later than like noon to 1 Pacific, which would be different. But like I said, it'd be great for everybody covering the show, doing recaps. Whatnot, we could get our asses to bed at a decent hour. But for the live production situation, London, it can get pretty warm as you get in the spring and summer. So it could be a matter of, is there not necessarily a snow problem? Is there too much of a heat problem? Because, hell, I was doing my show last night and we had a power out because it was still freaking 95 degrees at 10 o'clock at night.
I think it'd be fine in April in London. If they do it in Philly and New York, New Jersey, it's all pretty equal climate.
Never been there. Never been.
It could be rainy. It rains a lot over in London, but
I was going to say they mentioned the chat. Rain would be an issue, but I'm pretty sure Wembley's had an upgrade or two where they could take care of that. I'm for it. I'm absolutely for it. I'm not opposed to John Cena being the one to try to stir the announcement situation, but him trumping McIntyre's return was kind of shitty for the company to do that.
Ooh.
I remember I was telling you they should have scrapped Zayn and Owens from the press box and said, "Oh, look who's here watching," and had Cena up there, and then did like a zoom in where you could hear him a little bit, and he did the whole line, "Hey, I'm just trying to be with my friends." Remember from the viral video that went out there? And then he should have had like WrestleMania gear on, and then not said a word, and then stirred up the controversy or I don't know. Just maybe that's too cryptic.
No. It's not that it's cryptic because we would have discussion about it, but it's the overt like, okay, we're gonna. They don't want me out here, then they wouldn't hit your damn music, John. Come on.
Right.
It came out very forced and very silly.
All right, let's move on. Jeff, you can chime in later again. It's 9:10 already. But Walter, go ahead. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would love WrestleMania in London to be done by 9 p.m. East Coast. That'd be perfect. When I heard Cena's music hit and I saw him, I was like, this is the most random. What is it? But it kind of made me wish. I wish there was just like a English veteran that they could have used to do it. Like a Davey Boy Smith was still alive. They could have used him in that spot. That would have been perfect. I mean, Cena's a spokesperson for the company, so I understand that. I just wish there was like a big time English superstar that they could have used. Like I can't even think of one that's still around off the top of my head because a lot of those
Regal?
have passed. But yeah, I guess Regal, yeah. But other than that, I'm all for it. London, let's go. London and WrestleMania in London, like overseas seems to be the thing to do. They see the numbers. The numbers speaks for itself.
Dude,
the old men live, women live. Numbers don't.
It's gonna happen. I don't know when, but it's gonna happen because Vince McMahon is still overseeing WWE. He is not going to want AEW to be that wrestling company that has sold the most wrestling tickets in Wembley Stadium. Something is going to happen with WWE at Wembley Stadium. And Jeff is researching it right now, all the potential possibilities.
I'm going to guess that it happens within the next 4 or 5 years.
All right. This guy experience. Thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm just in my head thinking like, why would it take so long? I mean, they have so much production mastered at this point in time. We've already had multiple shows outside of the country, and granted, it wasn't as big as WrestleMania, but the created show, was a Clash at the Castle. I mean, basically a WrestleMania B version of it. So I don't think it's going to be that hard to create WrestleMania. Again, no, like you guys were saying, the time frame of it, like late March, early April, might be the only thing I could think of that's going to hinder this from happening sooner than later. But I could see it like next 2-3 years max. I don't think it should take that long. I mean, did they ever? I know they had a Canada WrestleMania, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Toronto a couple times.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, and granted, they're our neighbors to the north, so it's not that far off. But and again, like Walter said, like we finished the WrestleMania early in the day. So much stuff. I mean, they could even go back to one full. No, don't do that. But they could if they wanted to for that one event if it's in the UK, and then go back to 2 once they come back to the States. So yeah. And again, I thought I was the only one that was puzzling. Like when I was watching yesterday, I was running. I'm like, why is John Cena here? That what he said was nonsense. We know for a fact that you can almost do whatever. You can like slap Vince McMahon in the face and you'll still get away with it. Like, what are you talking about? They don't want you to be here talking about WrestleMania in the UK. Get out of here. And then I also thought, like, wait a second, why is Drew McIntyre and Cena coming back at the same night? Like, that's kind of like over each other. It's messing up. I mean, granted, I wanted Drew to come back as a heel, but he's back to being a face again. But I just question, like, is that stacking the card too much for this one show? And but yeah, ultimately UK WrestleMania. I say like 2-3 years max.
I think Toronto will get another one at some point down the road too, like within the next 5 to 7 years. But it's interesting, Jeff, that they haven't went back there after 2 big WrestleManias in their history.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I know they did SummerSlam, but and other.
Well, no, but you know, SummerSlam was in Toronto. What was it? Would you guys go 2019? Is that what that was?
2019. Yep.
Yeah. So they're not against having the big events up in Canada. It's just, you know, they know they're going to go into a bizarro world when they go into Canada or England because they're going to have the fans do what the hell they want to do.
Right.
So they also understand that WrestleMania is going to be that audience that, you know, comes in that isn't always watching. You know, how many people watched Mania 1998 because Mike Tyson was there, which is why that was first Mania that had all the major hype packages behind it, because people were watching that had never watched before. So they wanted to tell the Undertaker Kane story. They wanted to tell I was saying last night, they had a freaking hype package video for Mero and Sable against Goldust and Luna. Like, who gave a real shit about that? But there's a new audience watching. So, okay, here's why these 4 people are wrestling tonight.
Right.
So, you know, the draw is there for foreign markets and different big shows. It's just, you know, WrestleMania's become a bidding thing now. People, you know, towns bid for it.
Yeah, that's true. And they got to go to the highest bidder. I mean, heck, they still, you know, Saudi Arabia, it's coming up. No. All right. This guy experienced anything else you want to comment on here before I pass it over to Aaron?
I mean, I literally can go all day talking about wrestling, specifically WWE, but I know we got to get out of here soon. Just ultimately, it was a pretty good weekend of wrestling. Money in the Bank is it's actually my favorite. I was choosing between Chamber match and Money in the Bank. I just hope and pray that we don't another Cena when it comes to Priest, because I feel like they did finally like push him where he needed to be these last couple of years, but this might be a swan song. I don't think if he doesn't cash in correctly and he fails, it's going to be the end of days or Baron Corbin for the situation. Io Sky, she has a better percentage of cashing in successful. Obviously, no, I'm talking about in universe wise is what I'm saying. In universe wise, Io Sky has a better chance of cashing in successfully because you don't have that many females on the roster, especially females on her level. The only obstacle she has is Bayley, and what's her face? I'm not sure how long she's going to be injured. I mean, out on the injured list, but she only has like 3, maybe 4 obstacles that are in front of her, and which one is her best friend. So, like, I just can't wait to see the storyline. As long as tomorrow, I forgot, is Io on SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Okay, so yeah, as long as we don't have whatever. End of the coming up. No cash in from Io Sky. Just let's go back to the Carmelas of having it for almost a year, please.
Yes.
Damian Priest. I don't care if he cashes into. Are they on SmackDown? I don't care if he cashes in right away.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, for men.
Let's just hope nobody should cash it in on a mid-card title, though. Like that is.
Stupid. Oh yeah. As long as that doesn't happen, that too. Okay. No more cash in on mid-card titles, and and for the men, you can cash in whatever you want to because we've had so many long runs with the thing that sometimes it amounts to nothing. And so Io Sky, hold it for several months. Damian Priest cashing in. The last thing I'm going to say, and I'll give it to you. I'm so sorry. I've been wanting to say this for years. We
were talking about John Cena, by the way, but that's all right. Go ahead, finish. Get it out. Sorry, I know you're not on all the time. Get it out.
Okay. But it's also going to Cena, too. Whenever they're the champion, the world champion, even Cena, I wish they would have cashed in similar like the 24/7 title because I remember the original stipulations you can cash in anywhere, anytime within the 365 days time period. So many times we've had John Cena in backstage places where you're like, hey, let me get a ref. Ambush Cena and take the title of him. We've had so many chances that we could have had these title changes, and I don't know why they haven't done that. Like the situation is getting stale, and the fact that Cena is no longer in there, I still want to know when is it possible that he's going to take it from Damian Priest and then finally go for his 17th title run?
No, I don't think Cena. I don't know. He could still break the record at some point, but it's not going to have anything to do with Money in the Bank. But then you never know. Brock Lesnar showed up and won a Money in the Bank once. So, Aaron, over to you. I think that you're going to be in agreement with that there's a very good likelihood in the future, we'll just say that WrestleMania could be in London.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that they're hell-bent on doing it now just to beat out AEW. I definitely think AEW was an influence on this decision. And traditionally, WWE likes to go with the highest bidder, whether it be Minneapolis or Nashville. There are other cities being rumored. Many cities want WrestleMania in their town. And I'm not sure if London is going to be a highest bidder because, well, they're already one of the most visited cities in the world. They don't really need the extra tourism. They're getting plenty of it. But I think WWE will want to beat out whatever number AEW does. And I think it's just a matter of what the bids are. If there's a year where there's not a lot of high bids, then maybe WWE will be like, okay, this is the year we can have the show take place in London. And as far as John Cena making the announcement, I thought it was perfect. I don't know why you guys had an issue with John Cena, but
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I didn't like.
I just said I wish it was an English superstar. He should have been billed to be on.
Drew McIntyre had his own thing going on. Like he could have been the guy, but John Cena was available. He was, according to Jeff, doing his filming project, and I think he's a great representative of WWE. He went out there. Nobody can fire up the crowd like John Cena. So you put John Cena out there, and he's going to know how to work the crowd. As Virtue said, it's all about working the crowd. And John Cena, with all due respect to Drew or Butch or any of the other UK-based wrestlers, John Cena goes out there. He's going to have the crowd in the palm of his hand. He's the perfect guy to hype up WrestleMania possibly coming to London. So that's all I got to say about that. I do think there's a very good chance of it happening in the next 5 years. And again, it'll depend on the bidding most likely, because I know there are a lot of other cities and WWE is still focused on making the most amount of money possible. And if there's a city willing to spend a lot of money for WrestleMania, WWE will absolutely have to take that into consideration.
Well said, Aaron. Another great show. Now I want to go around quick and get our plugs done so we can get out of here because it's already 9:20 Eastern time. This guy experience, go ahead. I'll start with you. Good having you back on. I know you always got a lot to say, and you'll be saying it in the chat in the weeks to come.
This is the part where I don't have much to say. I'm not really a social media guy. So, again, appreciate you guys having me back on. Hopefully we can do this in the near future again. I'll shape it up better to stay on topic. And yeah, again, appreciate being here, and just follow NoDQ on YouTube and Aaron Riff. All you guys is like, just take my time. Go ahead.
Thank you for being on, Walter. Go ahead, from Puerto Rico.
From Puerto Rico. And by the way, if you go to the mall in San Juan, there is a digital billboard. It's a huge one that shows Damian Priest winning the Money in the Bank. So for you to think that he's not over, he is over.
I thought you were going to say the billboard said Cal Fire Farms. Oh, okay.
No. So he's over. So don't think Damian Priest isn't over. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Cal Fire Farms. That is my business Instagram, and then on Twitter I'm at Walter Alex Cruz. And thanks for having me again.
Good having you on. Now over to Jeff and the plugs.
20 minutes later.
And it's not going to be that bad. So I just wanted to get everything out there since it's going to be my first time on NoDQ this month. Got a lot of things coming up. We've got, in addition to yesterday's Money in the Bank, we've got 4 different watch-alongs, including SmackDown Friday. We also have a watch-along Great American Bash on JJ's subscription channel on Custody Studios on YouTube. We have our recaps of television from our new buddy Rangers of Wrestling. Greg Cherry's back in the fold, so he'll be on Wednesday nights across the Jeff Beach Network Multiverse Media as well as his own channel. And JJ's got content forever up there over Custody Studios. So check out all the links there in the middle on YouTube and stay up to date with us. Excuse me, for me to say.
Good having you on, Jeff, as always.
Always good to be here, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Aaron.
Shout out to Greg Cherry. Sorry, he got rate limited for liking too many of a certain reporter's tweets. Anyways, make sure you guys check out the NoDQ review of the AEW Fight Forever video game.
Oh, Lord.
That is on my channel right now. You can check that out. And Virtue, since this is 4th of July, well, the end of the weekend here, but 4th of July is coming up. I have a little fireworks display to send us off. But before we get to that, I did want to say thank you all for watching at home, wherever you are. Thank you to the panel for being on tonight. Much love and appreciation. Thank you, This Guy Experience. Thank you, Walter, for always being reliable. Thank you, Jeff, for being reliable for 20 plus years. Much appreciated. And thank you, Virtue, for doing 244 episodes moderating the NoDQ review. Thank you all for that. And Virtue, you can go ahead and wrap us up here, and then I'll throw up the fireworks.
I'll make it quick because I want to see the fireworks. Follow me on Twitter if you dare at NoDQ_Virtue. Go to NoDQ.com/merch and check out all the NoDQ shirts. The new NoDQ moderator t-shirt is up there. Go buy one of those. It's available in navy blue or black with the purple lettering. For Aaron Rift, for Walter Cruz, This Guy Experience, myself, Aaron Rift, Jeff Meacham, Robbie Weiss, Jargo, Colin Andrew, Big G, and the whole crew. Good night, everybody. See you next time.